Okay, so we're going to start activity 2 now. If you'll recall from activity 1, we did some research and found some existing designs that might meet the design requirements, and those existing designs can be used to influence or support or inform your own design. So let's go on to the next step, which is our activity 2, which we're doing right now. And we're going to study one of the existing designs. Now, normally you would study them all, but in interest of time and just to focus our assignment on one thing for a very simplistic design review, we're going to choose one design that you found in your research. And so this is, if you'll recall, this is the one that I found. So let's see. Look at the specification, review the features, and then also try to figure out how it's built. So we can look at the specification because I put that in here. The specification is sort of usable in a tiny house, supports one of these functions, and minimizes the impact. So I'll be looking at that, but for right now, I can see that it is usable in a tiny house and that it is for sleeping area. And I'm not sure if it'll do this yet, but as I move forward, I'm going to try to find things out about that. Okay, so what am I supposed to do next? I've looked at the specification. Let's look at the features of this thing. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at this thing, and I see some features. I see a feature that it's movable, goes up and down. And so it's transformable. It can change its place. It can change how it looks and how it's placed. And then when it goes all the way up, underneath it, there's another usable area. I see that, there's some sort of mechanism that helps it go up and down. And I would see that when it's in the upper position, it's probably hard to reach and work on. When it's in the lower position, it's easy to access. So those are some of the things. Now let's look and see how it's built. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit to see if I can see more about it. So first of all, I see that the way this is built, there are 4 independent channel irons put in there of some sort. It looks like it's some sort of a C bracket or mounting bracket that you can just purchase, and that there's some sort of a roller or guide that keeps the 4 corners inside of it. So each of these, I would suspect, could be made so that they can go inside easily. There's some sort of a thing up here, so there's electrical C channel for rails on the wall, and they can just be mounted independently. Of course, they would have to have some certain things like being parallel and being properly spaced. And inside, there's some sort of a thing. I don't know what it looks like right now, but there's something in there that keeps it in place. And I also see right down here in the lower corner, that looks like something called a cotter pin. And cotter pins are removable, and maybe it's in there permanently, or maybe it's not, but that would keep it from going any farther down and falling out the bottom of this channel. Whatever is inside there would rest up against it. Okay, and then I see some sort of a fixed bracket that holds this frame together, and it looks pretty straightforward. It looks like two 2x4s or 4x4s or something. It's some sort of lumber with a piece of plywood on top. It's probably just screwed together. So when I'm talking about, DIY and stuff, it looks pretty easy. And there's some sort of a cable with a grommet, I think is what you would call that, or an eye, that hooks into some sort of probably screw or bolt here to fix it in. And that on each corner goes up and winds around this spindle. Now, it doesn't show whether this is electric or not, but I'm seeing some sort of a cord here. So I'm going to guess that this is like an electric garage door opener. or something like that. And those are plenty strong. And look, I can tell that when it goes all the way down, it's resting, because see how that is like a loose wire, a loose cable. So that means that it came down and this kept running a little bit and it loosened up. So it truly, these wires are not accepting the load. And I would think for safety that that's an important thing. So that's sort of how this is put together. 4 independent channels that I don't know the design, but I got kind of an idea. Some sort of a gizmo inside of it. It could just be a block or something that runs inside of it that's hooked with a pretty simple, maybe looking bracket to some lumber. And there's some sort of a cutout, probably on each end, so that this can come down, and it allows it to go up past the TV. Now, underneath it, there's something under there. I don't know what it is, but there's an alternate use of the space underneath. And maybe it's just a seating area with some storage, but that could be a second bed. There's all sorts of things you could do under here. It could be a desk, maybe even. I don't know. Could be that there's a desk that folds out of this wall. So that's sort of how this thing is built. So let's see. I looked at the spec, I reviewed the feature, and I tried to figure out how it was built. And I put some information on it in my slide 4 of the design review. Okay. Now, that will really end up going on to slide 5 later on. But right now, I'm just putting my notes wherever I can. So that's your first part here. Study one design. And this is mostly mental. And just get a good idea of it.